Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng says his ministry is in the midst of organising a multi-ministry discussion with shareholders for the planning of an economic stimulus package amid the coronavirus outbreak. In a statement, Lim said MOF has been tasked by the Cabinet to plan the stimulus package to overcome the economic impact brought on by the global outbreak. Lim says MOF is very concerned on the epidemic's effects on the economy in general, especially for tourism. He says the ministry will organise a discussion with the Ministry of Economic Affairs, Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture and the Ministry of International Trade and Industry, as well as related players for input in the planning of this stimulus package. Previously, the Finance Minister had voiced the possibility of bringing forward an economic stimulus package originally labelled in its arsenal to deal with the US-China trade war fallout. The World Health Organization has labelled the coronavirus a global health emergency, and in Malaysia so far there have been 12 confirmed cases. Datin Seri Rosmah Mansor, wife of ex-PM Datuk Seri Najib Razak, went to trial today over alleged graft involving a solar project in Sarawak worth 1.25 billion ringgit. In his opening statement, Deputy Public Prosecutor Datuk Seri Gopal Sri Ram noted that although Rosmah held no official position, wielded considerable influence by reason of her overbearing nature. Rosmah stands accused of soliciting 6.5 million in bribes related to the project from Saidi Abang Samsudin, MD of Jepat Holdings, which was ultimately awarded the project. Revelations from today included the fact that a dedicated office had been set up in the Prime Minister's department solely for managing her affairs, the first time such an office had been set up for a PM's spouse. This was revealed by the prosecution's first witness, Huzairi Zainal Abidin, Director of Secretariat and Services Management Division in the PM's office. This department came into being shortly after Najib took office in April 2009, and Huzairi had been ordered to name this section First Lady of Malaysia. Originally, the FLOM division was included in the PMO's directory, which sparked public outcry and pressure from the then opposition. Amongst those working in the division was former aide Datuk Rizal Mansor, who was the main middleman between Jepat and Rosmah. Rizal had at first been jointly charged with Rosmah until the prosecution dropped the charges. Gopal revealed that Saidi had given Rosmah 5 million in December 2016 after Jepat had been issued the letter of award, followed by another 1.5 million in cash delivered to the accused at her home in Langat Duta in September 2017. Bank Negara has identified Maybank, CIMB Group Holdings and Public Bank as banks whose distress or failure have the potential to cause considerable disruption to the domestic financial system and the wider economy. The three have been classified as domestic systemically important banks by BNM, essentially fortified pillars of the country's financial ecosystem. Maybank, CIMB and Public Bank are Malaysia's biggest banks by market capitalisation at over 200 billion ringgit combined. The central bank adds that members on this list are required to maintain higher capital buffers that include a higher loss absorbency requirement. This gives the banks more of a cushion to absorb losses, thereby reducing the probability of distress or failure during periods of stress. In turn, it would ensure a safer and more resilient financial system. BNM notes that the applicable HLA requirement for these three banks range from 0.5 to 1% of risk-weighted assets at the consolidated level. The HLA requirements will come into effect on January 31st, 2021. The US Federal Reserve has permanently banned former Goldman Sachs banker Andrea Vella from the industry over his alleged involvement with 1MDB. The Fed's order said that Vella had failed to inform Goldman of potential illicit activity involving 1MDB bond offerings handled by the bank in 2012 and 2013. Vella was the former co-head of investment banking in Asia, who the Wall Street Bank had put on leave back in 2018. Vella agreed to the order order without admitting or denying wrongdoing, and he is slated to leave Goldman, Bloomberg reports. The Fed says Vela engaged in unsafe and unsound practices by failing to ensure that all of Goldman's internal committees were aware that the 1MDB deal involved fugitive low-tech Joe. The agency had already moved to ban other former Goldman employees, namely Tim Leisner and Roger Ng, and fine Leisner $1.42 million. Post Malaysia is setting its sights on the digital economy as the national mail carrier undergoes a transformation. Group CEO Syed Muhammad Najib Syed Muhammad Noor says that Post Malaysia foresees rapid switching towards electronic and digital channels and an inclination to forego more traditional forms of communication. Bernama quotes Syed Muhammad Najib as saying that digitalization is the way forward to transform the postal system in an Industry 4.0 world. Post Malaysia has allocated over 300 million ringgit in the coming years for the digitalization of its core system, including track and trace system, retail, mobile application and other improvements across its business chain to drive efficiency and service quality. Recently, Post Malaysia announced that postage rates would more than double for commercial mail starting from this month, the first increase in rates in a decade. However, rates for individual mail users have remained status quo.